Hello students, today I'll explain the topic valence bond theory. Okay, already we have discussed the free electron theory and now coming to the valence bond theory. Mainly we know that these theories are proposed to explain the structure of the metal. Okay, now this theory was proposed by the scientist Pauling and he has taken the concept of resonance in order to explain the structure of the metal. Okay, so what is meant by the resonance? Okay, what are the resonating structures? Best example for the resonance we can give benzene. So resonating structures will be obtained when the covalent bonds are moving, are delocalizing. Delocalizing means they are not local, they are not localized, they are not belonging to the particular position. They are free to move in the entire ring. You can see the first benzene ring. This is one resonating structure of benzene. And second benzene ring, I shifted the bonds. That means they are delocalizing. They are not belonging to the particular position. So whenever we are keep moving these electrons inside the ring, then we will get the resonating structures. And this concept is called as a resonance. Okay, so the structure of metal is explained in terms of the covalent bonds that resonate among the alternate interatomic positions in the metals. Okay, so here also the covalent bonds are shifting continuously not to get the stability. Okay, now in order to explain this structure, firstly Pauling selected lithium crystal. So lithium metallic crystal, if you are taking lithium, exists in the form of body centered cubic lattice. Here BCC indicates the body centered cubic lattice. You can see this BCC structure. Okay, central one atom will be there and it is surrounded by the 8 other atoms. So totally in the ring you can see 9 lithium atoms. Okay, so in order to form, so a lithium atom is forming 8 bonds. In order to form 8 bonds we require 16 electrons. Already we know each bond is considered as 2 electrons in chemistry. So now in order to form a single bond we need 2 electrons. In order to form 8 bonds it requires 16 electrons. As we are having only 9 lithium atoms, will have only 9 electrons in the valence shell. So lithium atomic number 3, if you are writing electronic configuration, 1s2, 2s1. Okay, so valence electrons involved in the bonding according to valence bond theory. So 2s1 electrons involved in the bonding. Then we are having 9 lithium atoms, so we will get only 9 valence electrons. Okay, so we are having only availability of 9 electrons to get the bonding with, to get 8 bonds. So this is not a proper structure. So in order to explain this structure clearly, the concept of resonance is taken into the consideration. So in this resonance has given two main forms. One is a synchronized resonance, another one is unsynchronized resonance. Okay, what is meant by the synchronized resonance? In this synchronized resonance, he has selected 4 lithium atoms first. So between 4 lithium atoms, firstly has explained the bonding. Okay, so if you are taking the 4 lithium atoms, has considered synchronized means simultaneously 2 bonds will be shifted. Okay, so you can see here this bond is shifted to this side and this bond will be shifted to that side. So from one resonating structure we are getting the second one. So this bond is moving to that side, this bond is moving to that side, this side. So we are getting a new structure called the resonating structure 2. 1 and 2 are the resonating forms which are obtained by the synchronized resonance. So remember, synchronized resonance means simultaneous shifting of 2 bonds. Okay, simultaneous shifting takes place, then it results in another form of resonating structure. Next, coming to unsynchronized resonating structure. Unsynchronized is opposite of synchronized. Here only one bond will be shifted at a time. So it leads to the ionic forms, not a normal atomic form of the lithium. So leading to ionic forms, only one bond shifts to new place. So you can see here, this bond I am shifting to that side. So when I am shifting to that side, here lithium gets positive charge and this lithium gets negative charge. So you can see the bond. So this bond is shifted now. So we are getting new bond here. Lithium got positive charge and this lithium got negative charge here. So this is a resonating structure 3. So from 1 I have taken structure 1. From 1 I am getting third structure. So after this I am making another new structure. I am shifting this bond to this side. So then this lithium gets positive charge and this bond is shifted to this side. So this lithium gets negative charge. Okay. as it is gaining electrons while forming the bonding. Actually, while forming the bond, lithium is having 3 electrons. So lithium is having 3 electrons. Valence shell consists of only 1 electron. So whenever it is gaining electrons from other orbital, it needs one more vacant orbital. So that is 2p. Okay, we know 1s2, 2s1. Next orbital is there. It's because both orbitals are nearly equal energy, because both are present in second shell. 2 means a second shell. 2s 2 be present in only one shell, that is a second shell. Okay, so in this shell they'll have nearly similar energy. That is the reason whatever electron is gaining by lithium minus will be occupied in the 2p orbital. Okay, so now metal is having vacant orbital to gain electrons. Okay, that orbital is called as a metallic orbital. Every metal possesses this metallic orbital. Because of this metallic orbital, there is a heat conduction, there is a color property, and there is a lustrous property. Because of this vacant orbital, all properties are existed by this any metal. Okay, so metallic orbital is the main thing in this explanation. So because of unsynchronized resonance, we'll get a metallic orbital. So electrons are free to move in the entire resonating structure. Okay, this is about the postulates of valence bond theory. Next, coming to the explanation of properties through valence bond theory. Here valence bond theory also explains the different properties of metals. First property is metallic cluster. Okay, metallic cluster is nothing but shiny property. So many metals have shining property. Best example we can give gold and silver. Okay, they are having shining property. So why they are getting shiny property? So whenever metal is absorbing white light, the electrons inside will excite to the higher levels. Here I can take silver atomic number 46, 4d10, 5s1. So next level will be 5p. Okay, so whenever this valence electron absorbs some white light, so whenever it is absorbing light, it gains some energy. The electrons, whenever they gains energy, they'll excite to the next level. So whenever they exciting to the higher level, it absorb energy. So they are in higher level, they are unstable in nature, and again they try to come back to the lower level. So whenever they are returning to the lower level again, they releases energy. That energy appears in the form of visible light. That is nothing but shining property. That is in the shiny nature. Whatever energy is releasing outside while the electron is returning, de-exciting from higher to the lower level, that property is given in the form of some visible light. That is due to the shiny property. Okay, next coming to the electrical conductivity. So already we have discussed, we are telling that electrons are free to move throughout the metal. So we are having different resonating structures. There we are getting cation, and sometimes we are getting negative charge. This negative charge clearly indicates electrons in the metal crystal. So whatever electrons are present in this resonating structure, they are not particularly belonging to any cation. They are free to move throughout the metal. So whenever electrons are freely moving throughout the metal, they are able to conduct the electricity. So metals are acting as good conductors. That property is explained through VBT by taking the resonating structures. Okay, now thermal conductivity. So metal also acting as a thermal conductor. So heat conductor. Already we have discussed, whenever the electrons are moving freely, they are able to conduct both heat and electricity. So when I am heating the metallic plate, whenever I am taking the iron rod, I am heating one side, other end also gets heated. This is because the electrons which are freely moving, they gains energy whenever we are supplying heat energy, and these electrons supplies the heat to the other electrons by the process of collisions. So due to this, other electrons also gets energy, and they will be acting as good conductors. So this is about thermal conductivity. Next, coming to hardness. So already we have seen metals are hard in nature because of the close packing of ions. So whenever we are getting different ions in the resonating structures, these ions are attracted by each other, and those ions will be closely packed in the crystal. So whenever close packing is there, there will be hardness. The solid will become hard in nature. So because of this, metallic crystal is hard in nature. Okay, next coming to limitations. So even this valence bond theory does not explain some other properties. It does not explain about semiconductors. it has clearly explained that metal has a property called conductivity. But there are some semiconductors. Semiconductors means semiconductors are insulators. They won't conduct electricity at zero temperature, but whenever they're coming to room temperature, they have ability to conduct electricity. So this theory does not explain about semiconductors, and this theory does not explain about metallic character in the liquid state. Till now we have seen hardness, everything was explained, electrical conductivity was explained in case of solids only by taking the crystals but not taking the liquid state. So this theory fails to explain the metallic character in the form of liquid state like a mercury metal. Okay, so these are the limitations of valence bonds theory, and this is completely about valence bond theory.